take a look at the emotional moment when the parents meet the divers that risked their lives to save their sons. But they almost didn't all get out safely. The incident commander on the scene told ABC News that right after the coach was brought out, the main pump in the cave failed. Had this happened just 2 hours earlier, the last 4 boys and their coach would have been stuck. Here's ABC's Matt Gutman.
You learned that that miracle mission was hours away from catastrophe.
Had you waited one more day, what do you think would have happened?
I think that the third day will be very difficult for us because the rain is coming.
So instead of swimming the equivalent of 7 football fields, the boys would have had to have gone over a mile underwater. Impossible, the governor told us in an exclusive interview. The main pump, whose hoses you see here, which have been siphoning off hundreds of millions of gallons, had failed right after the 13th member of the group, the coach, was rescued. Thai Navy SEALs and others abandoning equipment and hundreds of air tanks inside. The governor of this region has led the search and rescue mission since shortly after the cave seemed to swallow the 12 boys and their soccer coach on June 23rd. He said many of the boys were too weak to walk or swim much.
That cave filled up with water, right? You had to evacuate everything.
Everything because we finished the mission.
Rescuers positioned a doctor in each of the 9 chambers to evaluate the boys' condition as they passed through. The coach, who many are calling a hero for sharing his rations with his team and keeping them calm through meditation, was reportedly in poor health. Sources tell us he was shivering and seemed to have been suffering from hypothermia. The rescue mission was so treacherous for the children, the Thai Prime Minister revealing the boys were given anti-anxiety medication before their trek out to help prevent them from panicking. Meanwhile, late Tuesday, cheers as those final ambulances rushed to the hospital.
Everybody smile and no more tear.
Volunteers singing and dancing in celebration. Those raw emotions after 18 days of nerve-wracking uncertainty. And we are learning more about the heroes who have emerged. 14-year-old Adun Saman is a refugee, and he lives in Thailand without his parents who are in Myanmar. He speaks 5 languages, including English, and was able to communicate the needs of the team to the first British dive team who discovered them. Tell me about Adun.
Everything he does just seems to excel. Just seems to be such a quality kid with a bright future.
The Thai Navy SEALs continue to mourn the loss of one of their own, 38-year-old Saman Kunan, who died in these caves. He was so touched by the plight of these boys that he came out of retirement to help. Just days earlier, he posted this video online as he boarded his flight to join the rescue effort. Nevertheless, those 90 or so Thai Navy SEAL divers receiving a round of applause and shouts of thanks as they emerged from the cave and jubilantly hooting as they left the base camp for the final time. The excitement extending to the U.S. military stationed in chamber number 3. They had helped transfer the boys to the medics waiting at the entrance to the cave.
Our group consisted of pararescuemen as well as support personnel. We have medical, communications, logistics. All hands were on deck for this effort.
This morning, as that makeshift village that was built around the cave's entrance clears out, Thai officials announcing it will be turned into a world-class tourist attraction. They're even thinking of preserving some of the rescuers' uniforms for a museum.
Thanks, Matt. And ABC has been told that the boys will serve as monks for a short time after leaving the hospital. ABC's Adrienne Bankert has been there on the ground as well. She spoke to some of those heroic divers who made that remarkable trek in dangerous conditions.
As the soccer team and their coach recover in the hospital, a chance to see the divers' highly calculated plan in action. New video shows how teams of expert divers pulled those 12 boys and their coach from the belly of that cave.
Our job was to get the kid out from the water, take the full face mask off, put him in the stretchers, gently holding their hands so that they don't get tangled, or if there's distress, they don't start to pull the mask off.
Divers from around the world who came to assist in the rescue are speaking out for the first time about conditions inside that cave as oxygen ran low.
If you could rank 1 to 10, how hard this was? 13, 17?
You couldn't see this, you couldn't see this. It wasn't until you actually touched your own mask that you could actually see your hands. I mean, just pointing yourself along a rope and smacking your head into rocks. We did exit the cave fairly quickly.
Describe the feeling rippling through the camp there at the cave when everybody knew we got the last boy out, we got the coach out, it's a wrap.
It was actually quite silent. when you kind of like, this actually worked.
A Thai diver from Bangkok says he was very familiar with the area's dangerous caves. How many of you? But he never imagined that this could ever happen.
The really first day I arrived there on Monday night, started working side by side with the SEALs team on the Tuesday morning. This is the most difficult dive I have ever been to.
Thanks, Adrian. ABC had a team of journalists there for weeks covering this massive mission. Let's take a look as they describe what it was like in the hours leading up to and after that miraculous rescue.
We were all just sat there waiting. We had no idea when it would happen, if it would happen, if it would go well. And there was just this real silence in the jungle where we were waiting.
That is the first ambulance. The whole world has been waiting to see this. The whole country. We believe that the first boys from that cave are in that ambulance.
I'd been here for days waiting for these kids to come out, and we had thought they were dead. We thought they were dead, and then they were coming out one by one in ambulances. It was just extraordinary to be there for them.
The children not being able to see their parents yet, under quarantine. Of course, there is that concern that these children are medically needing to still be evaluated and make sure that they're checked out and just fine before they're reunited with their families.
You never want to see anybody brought out in an ambulance, much yet less young boys, but this was a moment of pure jubilation in this country.
People were smiling again. People